Welcome to episode 166 of the Bovine Podcast. Today we're diving deep into a silent threat that's draining profits from dairy farms across the country: ketosis. In 2025, this metabolic disorder is affecting up to 40% of fresh cows and costing farmers up to $289 per case. We'll explore the latest detection methods, treatment options, and management strategies that are helping farmers protect their herds and their bottom lines. Get ready for an eye-opening journey through the world of dairy cow health and farm profitability.
Welcome to the Bovine Podcast. I'm your host, Bella, and today we're tackling a serious issue that's silently draining profits from dairy farms across the country. We're joined by dairy expert Douglas to discuss ketosis, a metabolic disorder that's costing farmers more than they realize.
Thanks, Bella. This is a critical topic that too many farmers aren't taking seriously enough. When we're talking about up to 40% of fresh cows being affected and costs reaching $289 per case, we need to pay attention.
Those numbers are staggering. For a 100-cow herd, that could mean losses between $5,800 to $11,560 annually. Can you help our listeners understand why this is happening?
Think of it like running your truck on fumes, Bella. Just like a truck needs proper fuel to run efficiently, fresh cows need adequate energy for milk production. When they can't get enough energy from their feed, they start breaking down body fat, and that's where the problems begin.
And this is happening right when farmers need their cows performing their best in early lactation. What makes ketosis particularly dangerous is that many cases go unnoticed until it's too late, right?
Exactly. Up to 40% of fresh cows may have what we call subclinical ketosis. They look fine, but are actually sick. By the time you notice visible symptoms, you're already losing money in reduced milk production and facing potential health complications.
Let's dive into the basics. Doug, ketosis is costing dairy farmers up to $289 per case, but many don't fully understand what's happening inside their cows. Can you break this down for us?
Think of your fresh cow like a high-performance truck, Bella. Just like that truck needs the right fuel to run efficiently, fresh cows need massive amounts of energy to produce milk. Here's what's happening. In early lactation, especially the first 3 weeks after calving, cows physically can't eat enough to meet their energy demands. It's like trying to fill up your truck's gas tank through a drinking straw. The energy just can't get in fast enough.
And so what happens when they can't get enough energy from feed?
That's when the trouble starts. The cow's body starts breaking down its own fat reserves, like your truck switching to an emergency fuel tank. But here's the critical part. When too much fat hits the liver too quickly, it gets overwhelmed. Instead of processing this fat normally, it produces ketones. Think of them as dirty fuel that can damage your engine.
And this is happening in up to 40% of fresh cows.
Exactly. And here's what makes it so dangerous. Most of these cases are subclinical. The cow looks fine on the outside, she's still milking, still eating, but inside, she's struggling. Just like you might not notice your truck's engine having problems until it's too late. By the time you see obvious signs of ketosis, you've already lost significant milk production and risked other health issues.
So, for our listeners managing their transition cows right now, what's the key message about understanding ketosis?
The key is recognizing that ketosis isn't just about sick cows. It's about energy management. Every fresh cow walks a tightrope between energy demands and intake capacity. Understanding this helps explain why proper transition cow management, especially in those crucial 3 weeks after calving, is so important for preventing ketosis and protecting your bottom line.
Yeah, let's talk about catching ketosis early. Doug, what tools do farmers have in their arsenal to spot this profit drainer before it becomes a major problem?
You know, catching ketosis early is like catching a small leak before it floods your barn. We've got 4 reliable ways to detect it, and each has its place on the farm. Let me break them down. First, blood testing is your gold standard. Using a handheld meter, similar to what diabetics use, you can test your fresh cows right in the barn. When that BHB reading hits 1.2 or higher, you've got subclinical ketosis, even if the cow looks perfectly fine. The beauty of blood testing is its accuracy and immediate results. Second, milk testing through DHI services gives you a broader picture of your herd. It's convenient because you're already doing milk testing, and many services now include ketone testing as part of their regular screening. This helps you track trends across your whole herd over time. Third, urine ketone strips are your quick check option. While not as accurate as blood testing, they're perfect for checking suspicious cows when you notice something's off. Think of them as your early warning system. If the strip changes color, you know it's time for a more accurate blood test. Fourth, modern activity monitoring systems are like having an extra set of eyes on your cows 24/7. These systems track feeding patterns, activity levels, and rumination time, alerting you to changes that might indicate ketosis before you'd notice anything wrong. But here's what's really critical: timing. The first 2 weeks after calving are your danger zone. That's when you need to be most vigilant with your testing, especially in those first 9 days when treatment is most effective. Think of it like checking your fresh cow's vital signs. It needs to become part of your daily routine.
Let's talk real numbers, Doug. What's ketosis actually costing dairy farmers today?
The financial impact is staggering, Bella. Recent studies show ketosis hits farmers' wallets in multiple ways. Each case, even the ones you can't see, costs between $145 to $289. For a typical 100-cow dairy, we're looking at annual losses between $5,800 to $11,560. But here's what's really interesting. These costs are actually about 50% higher for older cows compared to first calf heifers. Let me break down exactly where this money's going. First, there's the direct milk loss. Every time a cow's ketone levels go up just a tiny bit, you're losing about a pound of milk. For severe cases, we're seeing drops of 13 pounds per day in early lactation. That's like pouring money down the drain. But here's what many farmers don't realize. Milk loss is only part of the story. These cows are 4.3 times less likely to get pregnant on first breeding, often needing nearly 3 services instead of 2. They're 3 times more likely to leave the herd early, and they're at much higher risk for expensive problems like DAs and uterus infections. Think about this. If you're running a high-risk operation, maybe pushing for high production or dealing with overcrowding in your transition pens, your costs could double. We've seen farms losing up to $7,606.87 annually just from ketosis-related issues. Even default farms are losing around $3,728.62 per year.
Those numbers really put it in perspective. Sounds like prevention could save farmers significant money.
Absolutely. When you consider that each case could cost up to $900 when you factor in all the knock-on effects, investing in prevention just makes good business sense. It's like that old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. In this case, it's worth several $1,000s of cure.
When you spot ketosis in your fresh cows, timing is everything. Doug, walk us through exactly what farmers need to do to get these cows back on track.
Let me be crystal clear about treatment. The research shows we've got a narrow window to get the best results. Here's what the science tells us. For mild to moderate cases, BHB 1.2 to 2.9 millimoles per liter, propylene glycol is your go-to treatment. Give 300 milliliters, that's about 10 ounces, once daily for 3 to 5 days. The key here is starting treatment early. When we treat in the first 9 days after calving, we see cure rates of 75%. Wait until day 16 to 21, and that drops to just 58%. But here's what many farmers miss. For severe cases where BHB is 3.0 or higher, or when cows show nervous symptoms or won't eat, you need to call your vet for IV dextrose treatment. The protocol here is specific. 500 milliliters of 50% dextrose in the vein, followed by your propylene glycol treatment. Recent research from the University of Guelph has shown something interesting. Temporarily reducing milking frequency from twice to once daily can help these cows recover faster. While you'll see a temporary drop in milk production, the metabolic benefits are significant. For your vitamin B12 shots, the dose is precise, 1.25 to 5 milligrams per cow in the muscle, daily for 3 to 5 days. This works particularly well for cows that have both low blood sugar and high ketones. Remember, every hour you wait to treat ketosis is costing you money. A cow with ketosis can lose up to 13 pounds of milk per day in early lactation. That's why having a clear treatment protocol and the supplies on hand is crucial.
Let's talk about real farms making real progress against ketosis. Doug, what kind of success stories are you seeing out there?
Let me share some eye-opening results we're seeing across North America. A 1,000 cow dairy in Wisconsin really shows what's possible when you take ketosis seriously. They were dealing with a 30% ketosis rate in their fresh cows. That's 300 cows affected, and it was costing them $87,000 annually. But here's where it gets interesting. They invested in activity monitoring systems to track rumination patterns, especially in those crucial 10 days before and after calving. Within the first year, they dropped their ketosis rate by 5%. That's 50 fewer sick cows, and saved $14,500. But the real success wasn't just the money. Their fresh cows were healthier, breeding back faster, and producing more milk. The University of Guelph tried something completely different with their Ketotic fresh cows. They reduced milking from twice to once daily for 2 weeks while maintaining propylene glycol treatment. The results were surprising. Cows improved faster metabolically, even though they gave less milk during treatment. They're now looking at whether shorter treatment periods might work just as well. But here's what really drives home the importance of early detection and treatment. Research shows that untreated cows lose about a pound of milk for every slight increase in ketones, while treated cows, those getting propylene glycol, actually gained 1.5 pounds of milk daily. When you're talking about severe ketosis, that difference can add up to 13 pounds of milk per day in early lactation. These aren't just isolated success stories. We're seeing farms across the country implementing these strategies and getting similar results. The key is catching it early and acting fast. Every day you wait costs you money.
As we wrap up today's discussion on ketosis, Doug, what final thoughts would you share with our dairy farmers who are looking to protect their herds and their profits?
Or, let me leave our listeners with some hard facts and actionable advice. The numbers don't lie. Ketosis is costing dairy farmers up to $289 per case, and with up to 40% of fresh cows affected, that's a significant hit to your bottom line. But here's the good news. Research shows that early detection and prompt treatment can dramatically improve outcomes. The key is having a solid game plan. Monitor those fresh cows like a hawk, especially in that crucial first week after calving when treatment success rates are highest, up to 75%. Watch their rumination patterns closely. We know that sick cows spend about 17% less time chewing their cud than healthy herd mates, and you can spot these changes up to 5 days before other symptoms appear. But most importantly, don't wait to act. Every day you delay treatment is costing you money in lost milk production. Work with your veterinarian and nutritionist to develop a solid transition cow program and have your treatment protocols ready before you need them.
Thanks for those insights, Doug. For our listeners, remember, ketosis doesn't have to be the profit drain it once was. With modern monitoring tools and proven treatment protocols, you can protect both your cows and your bottom line. Whether you're managing 50 cows or 5,000, the principles remain the same. Catch it early, treat it promptly, and focus on prevention. Your next step? Take a hard look at your fresh cow protocols and make sure you're set up for success.
That concludes our deep dive into ketosis, the silent profit killer haunting dairy farms in 2025. If you've made it this far, you're clearly committed to the health of your herd and the success of your operation. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bovine Podcast to stay informed about the latest advancements in dairy management. Share this episode with your fellow farmers, as knowledge is our best defense against this costly condition. Let us know in the comments how you're tackling ketosis on your farm. Remember, early detection and prompt treatment are key to minimizing its impact. Until next time, stay vigilant and keep those fresh cows healthy and productive.